mindful message today is understanding your energy. So when you understand your energy, you have the opportunity to transform how you show up, set unshakable boundaries, and also improve the way that you communicate with the people that mean the most. But what does energy even mean to you? How do you define it? It's so many different things, right? It starts with that physical aspect. That's very real. Then there's the physics of it all, the quantum physics of energy around us. There's the kinetic, the chemical. This might flashbacking you to middle school science class, right? All of the different forms of energy. There's spiritual. There's so many beautiful energy healers. People help us to move energy, heal energy. And there's the vibes, right? Oh, I love their energy, or oh, I don't want to be around that energy. And then we say, I don't have energy for this. And that can mean a lot of different things. Some of them that I think of is the mental capacity. We've talked a little bit about that here. I told you I'm an early bird. I know that if my husband David asks me to solve a puzzle at 8:30 p.m., my brain is basically wading through peanut butter. There's no way. It's not happening. There's emotional energy. And we as women, we are giving and giving and giving and giving our emotional energy. And if we're not filling it up, we've got nothing left to give. And that's very real. But for the sake of this space, honoring all of the definitions of energy, let's think about it in terms of how you work best. What do you need to be your best? And I want to put a caveat around that because there's no pressure in best. Let's remove the expectations, if we can, that go with best. So best is not just, I want to be a powerhouse at work, or I want to be the kindest, best partner. I want to be the most supportive in this way. I want to be the great friend. I want to be a good time. It's not those things. It doesn't have to be those things. Instead, it's best for you at that very moment. Similar to when we think about what we want, it's easier to think about what we don't want. So what do we need to be our best? Well, let's look at the signs of what's working against us. What doesn't feel like our best? So do you have anxiety? Do you even know how to identify anxiety? Are you irritable? Are you emotionally exhausted? Are you hating on yourself? How's your concentration? Can you focus? What's going on with your relationships? Are you excessively drinking? Now, I love a good cocktail. I love a glass of wine or 3 or whatever the occasion calls, but there is a difference between enjoyment and numbing. And then what's your attitude and perspective like? Are you negative Nellying all over the place? Now, I'm curious if you notice what these signs also relate to. These are signs and symptoms of burnout. And I'm intentionally bringing you into that because it's extremely personal to me. So about 18 years ago, I fell into a very deep depression, and it profoundly changed my life. I got there by running around, ignoring my feelings, adding to my to-do list, socializing like another full-time job, never allowing myself to stay still. Because if I stayed still, I'd start to feel some of these signs. I'd start to notice them. I'd feel uncomfortable. I'd have to face all of the uncomfortable emotions, the feelings I didn't want to feel. And that didn't sound good to me. If all of that running wasn't working, I would add drinking on top of it. I would add drugs on top of it, anything to numb and to feel differently. And that gets you into trouble. It brought me into such a deep depression with huge panic, huge paranoia, that I had to ask my mother to fly across the country to help me because I couldn't go 30 minutes without a panic attack. I was operating against my energy. We spend a lot of time and waste a lot of energy not feeling and trying to be something that we're not, trying to belong in spaces that may not actually be where we want to be, but we haven't quite sorted out what that looks like yet. So I'm curious if you've been spent any time thinking about what you really enjoy? What's fun to you? What does bring you energy? So look at this and see it without judgment, right? There is no judgment around what drains you or charges you. Some people love in-person networking events. That personally drains me. Some people love to cook, other people do not. And realize that there's going to be pieces here. They're going to be multifaceted, right? So I've got holding space for the people we love. Oh man, you want to do that with your whole heart, right? You are caring, wonderful women that want to do that. And you just worked a full day. You gave it all. You're done. Sometimes that's draining, and that's okay too. But the more that you identify these, the more you spend time with them and really get to know them, then you can work with them so that you can figure out, what do I need so that I'm not hitting those areas of burnout? I deserve more than that. So one thing that you might not know about me is I am certified in quantum human design. Now, this is a very big topic. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. What was profound for me when I was introduced to human design was that it was like an energy cheat sheet. There are 5 different archetypes, different spaces that we can fall into. And in these archetypes, you have different roles that we play in this world, different energy types, different ways that we refuel, how we make decisions. And so when I learned that I was a projector, I realized and honored the fact that I cannot go with that kind of energy. I just can't. I can't work in that space. I burn out. Before I found this, I had a client in consulting who was burning me out every other week. Granted, it was a toxic environment. However, they were operating in this function, in this way, in this speed that I couldn't handle. I couldn't understand why I was basically on the floor every other week until I understood what I need, a deeper understanding of what I need, just that next level. It also showed me that when I'm not invited to speak or my voice isn't recognized, that drains me. And so what that means is that I become very intentional about where I show up, who I show up with, and who I invite into my world. But that involves setting boundaries. That's the next step of honoring your energy, because the thing is, once you realize what's good for you, what's charging you versus what drains you, when you have these elements together, you want to protect them. Now, I know boundaries are terrifying. They can be really terrifying. And I honor that. I didn't even know the word existed until I was 21 years old, right? Way before social media. Now people hear it all the time, but they're scary because you're saying no. That same time of panic I told you about, I had such a huge panic attack that I passed out in the shower and hit my head. I had to go to the hospital. And even when that was happening, I still didn't want to call into work. I didn't want to set that boundary. I was terrified to say no. And since owning my worth more, boundaries left and right, social occasions, I say no to a lot socially because I know what's going to be good for me and what isn't. But setting boundaries involves loving yourself and feeling worthy of setting them. Things that you're absolutely worthy of. Once you start to manage your energy, work with it. That's a real power move. You create better relationships from it. You take care of you. You protect yourself in a way. You give you your power back. You're taking that power that you deserve by feeding yourself that great source of energy. What's going to be good for you? I have a client who kept herself so busy. That to-do list was like nonstop, so much so that she couldn't feel joy. She couldn't remember what excitement felt like. She could barely talk to her partner outside of their shared to-do lists. And that was really debilitating. So we worked on recognizing what's draining her and what's charging her. And by looking at that, by understanding that, she's able to play with what this ideal day can look like. What is really creating a space of growth and excitement and joy and wisdom for her? How to operate in a way that feeds all of these areas of her life, starting with herself. So you don't have to do it alone. We think we do. We try to take it all on ourselves. We're obsessed with going at it alone, which is ridiculous because we need community and we need support. So if you feel like life is just lifing around you and it's too much and you're overwhelmed and you are trying to get your head above water, you are not alone and you don't have to do it alone. I'm opening up 3 slots on my calendar for dream discovery calls. So scan this, take a picture of this right now, sign up, do it while we're here, get time on my calendar. This is something, it's a no pressure call. It's free. It's not available to the public. And this will help you to get clarity so we can take the next step of your dreams. We can build this out. We can get your life moving in the way that you deserve, that you're worthy of. And understand more of what feeds you, what serves you. Create a plan so that your communication is flowing in a way that supports all of your relationships. And if you're interested, we can throw in some of your human design too.